We live in an era of ruthless efficiency. You wake up, scroll through flat, sterile feeds, work inside minimalist gray walls, and go to sleep illuminated by a blue screen. Psychologists call this baseline existence aesthetic starvation, a deep psychological fatigue caused by a total lack of physical beauty. A few decades ago, religious institutions noticed people tuning out of traditional services. To keep their numbers up, they adopted the megachurch model. They swapped out quiet reverence for a frictionless, highly produced concert experience, complete with stadium seating and motivational speakers. But a generation raised from birth on screens and targeted marketing possesses an extremely sensitive radar for inauthentic performance. They cannot be impressed by lasers and smoke machines because they already carry infinite, highly produced entertainment in their pockets. Instead, millions of completely secular young people are turning to heavy, dark, ancient aesthetics. Online trends like cathedral core and dark academia are racking up massive numbers across social media. Why is the most digitally native, historically secular generation seeking out the oldest, heaviest, and most physically demanding architecture on Earth? Digital culture operates on a simple, exhausting rule. You are the main character. Every profile, post, and algorithm places you at the exact center of the universe. Carrying that constant, self-centered pressure creates immense anxiety. Gothic architecture relies on a deliberate structural design meant to minimize the ego. These buildings were engineered to force the individual to feel physically insignificant. In this wireframe cross-section of a Gothic nave, perspective lines converge violently from the floor, pulling your gaze straight up toward the vaulted ceiling. Horizontal sightlines are physically blocked by massive pillars, trapping your attention and redirecting it to a higher order. When you step inside and feel intentionally small, the anxiety of self-importance vanishes. You realize you're not the center of the universe, and that realization offers profound psychological relief. A touchscreen is perfectly smooth and demands zero effort. A cathedral demands physical friction. It confronts you with rough stone and the heavy scent of burning frankincense. This demand for friction explains the resurgence of the traditional Latin Mass. It removes stage performance, requiring strict physical reverence from everyone in the room. Modern culture pushes toxic positivity, a relentless demand to just be happy. The Gothic tradition answers with Memento Mori, the ancient practice of remembering your own death. It openly acknowledges grief, suffering, and human mortality. For a generation facing record levels of trauma and depression, forced positivity feels like a lie. They find a much more honest, reliable container for their pain in an architecture that refuses to hide from the dark. Unlike disposable commodities, these stone structures offer physical permanence. They have stood entirely firm while plagues, empires, and world wars leveled the cities around them. The architecture functions as a breathing acoustic amplifier. Builders engineered the stone vaults to catch and carry the overwhelming resonance of towering pipe organs. To escape the relentless noise of the modern internet, young professionals are taking an extreme, almost unthinkable rebellious step. They are checking into monastic silent retreats, voluntarily severing all digital connection and speaking to no one for 48 hours straight. Spending 48 hours in absolute silence offers a rare reprieve for a brain conditioned by constant digital alerts. It demonstrates why ancient, analog environments are vital refuges for a generation struggling with digital exhaustion. This resurgence carries real risks. Treating heavy, demanding traditions as an edgy fashion accessory commodifies the sacred. Buying a $500 vintage cross doesn't mean you understand the theology behind it. Toxic online subcultures also weaponize these traditional aesthetics. They use the imagery of crusaders and ancient heritage as a respectable mask for political extremism and misogyny. But for the majority, the pull is much simpler. The Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky famously wrote, "Beauty will save the world." Objective, staggering physical beauty serves as the undeniable bait that draws secular youth through the doors in the first place. Once inside, the aesthetic trap snaps shut. The crushing weight of the stone, the absolute silence, and the demanding theology slowly break down ironies, turning casual tourists into genuine pilgrims. Down on the streets, the modern city continues its frantic, chaotic rush. Meanwhile, the cathedral watches patiently, entirely unbothered by the noise. Gen Z's Gothic rebellion reveals a basic human truth. When a generation is completely starved of roots, meaning, and physical beauty, they will eventually push open the heavy wooden doors and re-enchant the world themselves.